Looking at this year's Oscars, it seems like it's competition in many categories between One Battle After Another and Sinners. Both, incidentally, are Warner Brothers movies, so either way they're going to pull in a big Academy Awards haul, before they're potentially sold off. But I'm not here to talk about corporate mergers, I'm here to predict what might win at the Oscars. As usual, I'm starting with the short films. Last year I got all 3 wrong, and this year is not any easier. Looking at the past number of years, there's not a particular pattern with what they choose. For example, Best Animated Short sometimes goes to something cute and heartwarming, occasionally it's awarded to a more experimental film, and then there are years where they pick shorts that tackle a serious subject. I'm going to predict Butterfly, which qualifies as the serious entry among this crop of nominees. Most of the best live-action short nominees have something in their favor. A Friend of Dorothy stars Miriam Margolyes and Stephen Fry, and having well-known actors can sometimes help in this category. Jane Austen's period drama is a silly comedy, and Tickling the Funny Bone does occasionally do the trick. Butcher's Stain is the most topical of the bunch, with its setting in post-October 7th Israel. However, I'm going to predict 2 people exchanging saliva, as its unusual and offbeat premise and experimental presentation seems to be in line with recent live-action short winners. The Best Documentary Short nominees cover a range of subjects, with these short films delving into school shootings, journalists in dangerous situations, the Israel-Hamas war, abortion rights, and donkeys. Your guess is as good as mine, but I'm going to predict All the Empty Rooms, which is the one about school shootings. In Best Documentary Feature, I thought The Perfect Neighbor was going to win, as it's received the most attention and was lauded with critics' prizes. However, some of the industry awards have gone in other directions, including Mr. Nobody Against Putin winning a BAFTA. Now, The Perfect Neighbor still has a very good chance, and I would not count out The Alabama Solution either, but I'm going to predict Mr. Nobody Against Putin. Best Film Editing is one of those categories that could go to either One Battle After Another or Sinners. You can even make an argument for F1 and its car racing sequences. However, I'm going to predict One Battle. Best Cinematography is also a toss-up between One Battle and Sinners. Both have gotten acclaim for the large canvas of their photography, but I'm going to predict One Battle here too. Best Production Design and Best Costume Design appear very likely to go to Frankenstein and its depiction of Mary Shelley's famous story. And on that note, I also think Frankenstein is winning Best Makeup for transforming Jake Belordi into the creature and turning Mia Goth into 2 separate characters. While The Secret Agent could certainly put up a fight for Best International Feature, I predict a different Best Picture nominee, Sentimental Value, will win here. Best Visual Effects is interesting if you look at the history of the category. In the last 78 years, only twice has a non-Best Picture nominee beat a Best Picture nominee for Best Visual Effects. When Tora 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 won over Patton, and when Ex Machina beat Mad Max Fury Road, The Revenant, and The Martian. So by that logic, you can certainly make the argument that F1 and its realistic depictions of the Formula 1 races could win over the aliens and scenery featured in Avatar: Fire and Ash. I've considered F1 winning VFX for this very reason, and a case could also be made for Sinners for the seamless techniques used to give us 2 distinct Michael B. Jordans in the same scene. However, Avatar: Fire and Ash has still won pretty much every visual effects award under the sun, which signals that industry voters are still amazed at Pandora and the Na'vi who populated it. So I'm going to predict Avatar. In Best Sound, you have the gunshots and car chases in One Battle After Another, and the musical numbers in Sinners making a case for both of those films. I'm going to pick F1 and the vroom vrooms of the cars speeding down the tracks as the possible winner here. Looking at Best Original Song, I Lied to You from Sinners definitely stands a strong chance for what's considered by many to be the standout scene of the movie. However, Golden from K-Pop Demon Hunters has become a worldwide cultural phenomenon on par with Let It Go from Frozen. It is that inescapable, and I think the massive popularity of Golden will help it give it the win. As for Best Original Score, I predict Ludwig Göransson will win his 3rd Oscar for Sinners. The screenplay categories are fairly easy to predict this year. One Battle After Another will probably win Adapted Screenplay, and Sinners is likely to take Original Screenplay. If any other film wins those categories, it'll be a shock. Best Animated Feature also feels highly likely to go to K-Pop Demon Hunters. In fact, if K-Pop wins both this and Original Song like I'm predicting, it'll become the first non-Disney animated feature to win 2 Oscars. Best Casting is a new category they've introduced this year, and as such, we don't have a precedent for how exactly voters assess this category. Do they treat it like the Screen Actors Guild's Best Ensemble Award and judge on the quality of the performances? Will they pick a movie with a star-studded cast? Or will they award the casting director for discovering new talent? I think, like a lot of categories this year, it's between One Battle After Another and Sinners. I'm going to predict Sinners here, which will go to Francine Maisler, a long-time and highly respected casting director who, among her accomplishments, helped cast 2 Spider-Men. While one acting category is a certainty, the others are very competitive. To start with the obvious one, Jessie Buckley should walk into the ceremony confident she will win Best Actress for playing William Shakespeare's wife in Hamnet. Meanwhile, Best Supporting Actress is completely up in the air. Tiana Taylor stands a good chance for playing one of the revolutionaries in One Battle After Another. Amy Madigan won the SAG Award for roles of the creepy Aunt Gladys in Weapons, so she definitely has a lot of support despite being the movie's sole nomination. And Wumi Masaku won the BAFTA for Sinners. It's a close race, but I'm predicting Wumi Masaku. In Best Supporting Actor, you could make a case for Jacob Elordi as the resurrected creature in Frankenstein, Benicio del Toro as a helpful sensei in One Battle After Another, and Stellan Skarsgård as a father trying to reconnect in Sentimental Value. After winning the BAFTA and SAG Award, the pendulum seems to have swung in Sean Penn's favor for playing the villainous Colonel Lockjaw in One Battle After Another. Those other actors I mentioned still have a shot, and Delroy Lindo could even pull off a surprise and win for Sinners, despite being passed over by other awards bodies. I'm going to play it safe and predict Sean Penn, but he's not necessarily a sure thing. For while it seemed like Timothée Chalamet had Best Actor in the bag for his role as the overly determined ping-pong player in Marty Supreme, and he still has a chance, but Michael B. Jordan has started to look like a serious possibility for playing twin brothers and juke joint owner Smoke and Stack in Sinners, especially after winning at SAG. Chalamet remains a possibility, but I'll predict Michael B. Jordan to win Best Actor. Paul Thomas Anderson won the Directors Guild Award for One Battle After Another, and combined with the feeling that he's long overdue to win his first directing Oscar after an impressive career full of acclaimed films, I feel very confident in predicting Anderson. One Battle After Another also has everything it needs to secure Best Picture, although I won't deny Sinners presents some strong competition. An argument can definitely be made for Sinners, especially with its record-breaking nomination total, and there's a lot of passion for the film. However, aside from that, I cannot think of any hurdle One Battle After Another faces, as has a lot of support. So I think One Battle will be the film inside the final envelope of the evening. I'm definitely curious to see how the Oscars pan out and how correct I end up being. See you next time.